Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ask Us Anything, where we're taking a bunch of you guys' random questions.
What do you say? You guys's.
You guys's.
It's your guys's, right?
You guys's.
Be clear on that. We're terrible at grammar. If anyone's realized
I do it on
or picked up on
purpose.
that, well, I'm genuinely terrible at it. If you've noticed, I hated grammar class. That was one of my weakest.
I'm not working for CNN or anything, so why be all proper?
This is great. We actually get to talk about ourselves, and it's relevant in this video.
Yeah.
Because that's what this video is about. So if you only, like I said before, if you're only in it for the sex and our Elder Scrolls or gaming coverage, tune out now. This is for the real fans, right?
Sure, and I had to actually avoid a lot of the sexual questions per your request.
Apparently,
I would have answered all of them. I wouldn't care.
Well, no, for the sake of we do want this to be a professional podcast, and it's amazing how many people are interested in our sex lives. I'm creeped out and kind of intrigued all at the same time. But yeah, we even though our name suggests otherwise, we do want to keep it professional. So
yeah, sure. Alright, let's just get into it. First question from Patrick Hansen. And by the way, we're going to be butchering a lot of names, so, get over it. What's your best test game?
My best test game?
Your favorite, I guess.
I've made a lot of them. My favorite test game, I am very, very firm in the belief that everyone's favorite test game is whatever the first test game is that they played.
Pretty much.
Because it has
the nostalgic factor?
Yeah, it has that nostalgic factor, and your first exposure to the Elder Scrolls series, because the games follow this same exact formula. From Elder Scrolls 3 and onward, you're following the same formula that's been proven for success by Bethesda. And I just believe that whatever Elder Scrolls game is you played first is the one you have this everlasting attachment to. And so for me, that was Oblivion. Oblivion will forever stick out as my favorite Elder Scrolls game, just for that fact alone. And not only that, what a lot of people don't know is that the first ever console that I owned, believe it or not, was an Xbox 360.
Wow.
Yes.
What a loser.
Yeah, I was bred PC from like the start, but my first console was a 360, and all my pals at school were like, I asked them, what game should I get? And universal agreement, Oblivion is the first game you get for your Xbox 360. And so, oh man, that was a beautiful day. I'll never forget the day I heard the trumpet sound as the Oblivion theme played, and it was glorious. And yeah, my life has been downhill ever since.
I have to be honest. When I first played Oblivion, I didn't really sink into it. It didn't captivate me like it did with a lot of other people. And I think it's just because I didn't give it the chance, maybe. I never really just sat down and sank my teeth into it. I kind of just perused the menu, sort of.
Right.
So I wasn't captivated by it. But then I played Skyrim and loved it. And then I went back to playing Oblivion. And that I actually found that I did enjoy Oblivion.
You could actually appreciate it.
Yeah. And I also played Morrowind too, and I know people just love Morrowind and everything. But again, that's probably, going back to what you said, it was probably one of the first test games that they played. And I can't get over just having to read all the text and stuff. After you've had fully voiced games like Skyrim, going back to a game like Morrowind, it takes like extreme dedication to get through it.
Oh yeah.
And to me, that kind of takes some of the fun away, for me at least. So if I had to choose, I'm just going to go with Skyrim being my favorite test game.
Yeah, because I would agree with you. Like, that was your first real test game, because that was the first
that
one
I played all the way through,
hooked,
yeah.
And you played all the way through, for sure. Because, and when you first approached Oblivion 2, you weren't much of an RPG gamer.
No, not at all.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I was more of an action, just get me into the combat. And if there's a story, then sure, like Dante's Inferno, I guess, is a good one. I actually loved that game just because it had such cool combat and stuff like that, and the story was somewhat intriguing. So I actually did enjoy that game. But yeah, just this was like Skyrim was one of the first games that I really did get into the story and wanted to know what was going to be going on, and just kept pushing me to play more and more and sink all those hours into it. Then Oblivion, I've completed 2 or 3 times now. The main story, at least. Obviously, not everything. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. Hardcore RPGs is an acquired taste for a lot of people, and and then when we say that it's hard to go back to Morrowind because we don't want to read the text and stuff like that. It's hard to admit, but it is the truth. Like, and especially like me, who I read books. I've always said I would rather read a Morrowind book flat out than than go through the game again. But yes, so there you are, Oblivion and Skyrim.
Would you like to read the next question?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm not.
But I just didn't want to pronounce the name. Damn it. Isaac Cisneros. Cisneros?
It was a trap. You were trying to get me to
exactly
into it.
So what land of Tamriel would be best for the next single-player entry in the Elder Scrolls series? Ooh. So where would you like to see the setting for the next Elder Scrolls game?
Oh, wow. Oh, man. Okay. This is actually, I don't have to think about it for a second, because it's Black Marsh, without a doubt, through and through. The way Black Marsh is set up, not only I think it's really cool that it's one big swampland, and living in Florida ourselves, we're part of the swampland. That's cool. But the whole way the government set up the shadow scale thing going on, like, I would love to do some crazy Dark Brotherhood stuff in Black Marsh, because the Dark Brotherhood apparently has a lot more sway in what goes on in Black Marsh than the other provinces. And so yeah. No doubt about it, Black Marsh would be where I would want the next Elder Scrolls setting to be in.
It's just, Skyrim was already somewhat gloomy, and gritty. If you go to the Black Marsh, how terrible the scenery will be. I mean, they'll try to make it as beautiful as they can, but it's a freaking swamp. I mean, how beautiful can it look? And, like, there's so much of Black Marsh that can't even be explored, just because it is so just hostile and everything, and you can't get to it because it's a freaking swamp. You'll be sinking every 2 feet you walk. I mean, it'll be like that never-ending story scene with the horse sinking into the. Never mind.
I'm not familiar.
I'm not going to go into that, but but yeah, I honestly kind of want to leave Tamriel. I've already said this before. I want to go to the Dragonland.
Oh, no.
I want to go over to Akavir and start kicking some ass over there instead. I would like to see an invasion. Tamriel forces all united now, be it under the Thalmor Embassy or whatever you want to say, because, some say the Thalmor's going to take over.
Will never be able to unite everyone.
But let's just say, whoever ends up uniting Tamriel once again, all of Tamriel united, invades Akavir for some reason and just lays waste Akavir. It would be amazing.
Yeah, and that's something I think we'll never get to see, at least not until technology catches up, because if there's anything the Elder Scrolls game lacks, it's those awesome large-scale battles.
True.
Well,
and consoles, might be able to handle it now.
Well, and that's the thing
the next
too.
gen.
Yeah, it's mainly a technology issue because rendering is so hard. We have these epic battles in the Elder Scrolls games that are quote unquote supposed to be epic. I'm thinking of the siege at, I think it was Bruma, when a great Oblivion Gate opened up and all the Daedra were supposed to be pouring out.
Oh, there's 4 of them.
There's 4 Daedra, 4 guards. That's all it is. It's really lame.
It's so epic.
Sure, I would love to see a sort of invasion thing going on, but only when the technology catches up to it. And then, and then we'd have epic Lord of the Rings style battles. But hey,
it'd be amazing.
We're gonna get that in the Elder Scrolls Online too. So
True. All right, so I'm just gonna say, okay, if I had to pick somewhere in Tamriel, I guess
Final answer.
Valenwood and Elsewhere. It'd have to be both of those.
Both of them.
Yes, it'd have to be both. I'm sorry, but it'd have to be both because they are connected. They're they're the same thing. They're both foresty
I think you're wiggling
areas.
out of the question. It's gotta be one.
Damn it!
One.
Fine, Valenwood.
Okay.
No, Elsewhere. No, Valenwood, because we already sort of have an Elsewhere mod, so I kind of saw a glimpse of what Elsewhere could look like.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, Valenwood would be cool because, it's very foresty and bright and colorful.
Yeah, it would be, yes, colorful.
Sure.
No more snowy mountains everywhere. How old are you? Says Sebastian Parrish.
Well, I'm 42. Kyle here's 44, so that makes him the now.
How old are you now?
I'm 20.
20. Still can't drink.
21 in September. Yeah.
How am I 27 or 28?
I don't know.
27, right?
You should tell
me.
me.
27.
27.
I think.
So that makes Kyle the older brother. So yeah, he was the one giving the noogies, and I was the one receiving them growing up.
I never gave you a noogie.
You gave me dead legs.
Dead legs? Oh, when I tried to knee you in the side?
Yes. Don't do it now.
Dead legs. I forgot all about that. Christian Marchigiani. What's your favorite MMO and single-player games?
Wow. So what's my favorite? Okay, I'll start with the MMO. My favorite MMO to date. That's really hard. Like, actually, it's kind of not. If I measure it in just purely hours and the level of fun had, it would have to be World of Warcraft. And, you know, and that was back in Vanilla WoW when I first started.
Before it got ruined, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I had a really cool guild, and that was the first time that I was exposed to, like, a social thing really on the internet, because up until then, my parents were like, oh, you don't never want to talk to anyone on the internet. They'll come to your house and, you know, rape you. But no, these people that I was talking to were really, really cool. And some of them were my age. Guys, I was 13 at the time. Yeah, I was 13 at the time, and that was a really, really neat experience. And I don't think that's an experience that will ever be recreated in any MMO. Not to say there won't be another great MMO ever, because there are better MMOs than WoW now. You know, SWTOR had a way, way better leveling experience than WoW could ever hope to achieve. And Guild Wars had way better combat than I had ever experienced in another MMO. But that experience in World of Warcraft for the first time, where everything was so magical, would be the word, I guess, is, I don't know, that's something that I don't think I'll ever get again, just because it was, again, like the first time that I've ever felt an experience like that. And then my favorite single player games. Oh, excellent. He said games, so it's plural, so I could say it's like a series. I'm not going to say a specific game. I've said this before, and the channel reflects it. Like, my favorite series of all time is the Elder Scrolls series. You know, I could always change. Maybe some epic RPG series will come and take it out.
Let's just say Bethesda in general, because they make amazing single-player games.
Exactly. There's not a Bethesda game that releases that I don't like, you know. But we're talking Bethesda Game Studios, not the publisher. Yeah, like Fallout, man. Oh, God, just
I love
great.
The Fallout series.
It's just pure epicness pouring out. And then there's some that are in close second. I'd say the close second is the Mass Effect series, which I freaking love the Mass Effect series. And if the Mass Effect series was more free, less linear, more open, and a longer game, a game that never ends, it would be, oh man, it would be neck and neck with the Elder Scrolls series. Very, very close, because I love that universe. What about you, Kyle?
Alright, so for the MMO thing, if I'm going to go by hours spent, it's going to be WoW. I think I had the most hours put into WoW. Because I played that for, like, what, 2 years?
Yeah, we played that for
before
quite a while.
I just got tired of it. It was just monotonous during Wrath of the Lich King. But as for most enjoyment and, like, the social aspect and all that stuff, I would have to say original Guild Wars. That's when I was, like, in my most favorite guild, the Center Path, and that's when we had just, like, a really close group of friends that even if we weren't in game, which most of the time we were, we would still be on TeamSpeak, just chatting and stuff all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So that was, like, my second family, basically, was in Guild Wars. So, yeah, that's going to be my choices for that. As for single-player games, the one that actually impacted me the most was actually that game Bastion that I don't think you ever actually played. I recommended to you.
Yeah, no,
Bastion,
I did
it's
watch you play it.
Yeah, an action role-playing game. It's really short. It's only like 6 hours long, at least the first playthrough. But yeah, just I don't know, like between the music, the art style, just the whole design of the game, it just really hit me, and I just really enjoyed that game. And I wish they would come out with another conclusion to that or something. But yeah,
That's great. Yeah, I think a lot of people, when you're asked the question what your favorite game is, it's not going to be the game with the funnest mechanics or anything like that. It's always going to be that game that touches you emotionally somehow. So I'll have to play Bastion sometime.
You're gonna have to play it. I mean, it's not gonna take you all that long. Corey Burrow asks, my brother and I normally have this debate, and we're wondering what you guys would say. If you could live anywhere in Tamriel, where would it be and why? Also, what got you hooked into TES? Where would you live in Tamriel?
Wow. Well, I hate the cold, so Skyrim's out.
Yeah.
I would have to say, honest to God, if tomorrow I was transported to the world of Tamriel, I would be put probably in somewhere in Cyrodiil. What city though? What city in Cyrodiil? Oh, you know which one? Coral in Cyrodiil, because that place always felt so welcoming to me. It's just a welcoming place with a tree in the middle, and the townspeople seemed kind and stuff like that. And then the reason I chose Cyrodiil too is because it's a very diverse and very what's the word Todd Howard used? It's kind of like
eclectic.
Yeah, kind of. It's bright, and it's I don't even know what words I'm looking for, but yeah, that would be my answer to that. What about you?
Based on screenies and things I've heard from the gameplay and stuff that went over at PAX East, since they got to play the Daggerfall Covenant now, Hammerfell. Just because I like grasslands and still having the mountains and stuff like that, and I think just it's not overly cold, even though they're pretty high up. But I guess because I like West Coast, I guess. West Coast? But
as he's reporting from the East Coast as we speak.
Hey, I would live in Seattle, you know that. But
no way, man.
I love the gloomy
way
weather
too
over
gloomy
there.
And
love it.
depressing.
Love it.
I take my energies from the sun. That's where I draw my energies.
Well, you know how pale I am. I could not see the sun
I know.
again.
I always have to negotiate here where we're recording, guys. There's a window, and I always have to negotiate whether or not we're going to open the blinds because Kyle freaking spazzes out whenever
It burns.
skin starts sizzling.
But yeah, I don't know.
And then
I think I'm really gonna like that area. I probably am gonna put Ebonheart Pact for last when I'm exploring. And my first 50+ area is gonna be the Daggerfall Covenant area, just so I can explore all of that. So what got you hooked into TES?
What got me hooked into TES? Well, the fact that the game never ended. That really did it for me, because at the time I bought the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. I was 13 years old, so I wasn't particularly rich or anything. As a matter of fact, I was very, very poor. And so when I went out to buy a game, it had to be a game that lasted me a super, super long time. Because I couldn't afford $60 games every other week. And World of Warcraft was definitely that for me. That game freaking will never end. And then the Elder Scrolls was that for me too, where I could never run out of nooks and crannies to explore. So I would say that fact right there initially got me hooked into TES.
My answer is pretty easy. You. Because you kept telling me to play. Kept telling me every single time, hey, we gotta play some Oblivion. Just try it out, And I'm like, fine, I'll try it. And maybe that's why I didn't like it. It's because you just kept freaking telling me to play it. So
I was like that Talos preacher in Whiterun. Let me show you the power of Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, so definitely I would say you, and then just Skyrim. I mean, I was so excited, just like that whole month leading up to the release of Skyrim. I was just waiting and waiting
because
waiting.
The trailers were so epic too.
I know. Yeah, their marketing team was amazing for Skyrim.
Yeah, they did very well.
Anyways, Mason Foringer? What kinds of games do you guys play other than the ones you've showed? I think I mean shown. What is your favorite amongst the group of games?
Like group of games meaning a genre or...
I would assume so.
I'm guessing genre.
So what are some other games we play in genre of games that we enjoy?
Well, like I said, the genre is no contest. RPGs, definitely. As far as what other games I play, like I said, the Mass Effect series is one where I've sunk considerable amount of hours for a single player. That one being only second to the Elder Scrolls series. Recently, Dishonored was a game I really got into. I really like stealth games. I like the stealth element, and that's why I'm not really set in my class in, Elder Scrolls Online, and I never want to say this is what I'm going to be no matter what, because I do appreciate stealth gameplay very much. Deus Ex being another game
Definitely.
that
I love that game.
freaking loved. It mixed like an RP element with the whole stealth part, and I ate that game up, loved it a lot. Games that I can immerse myself in are the games that I'm going to be particularly drawn to, because as nerdy as it sounds, in the moment I'm playing a game, that universe to me, in my mind, I trick myself, that universe is real. And I think that's the way, and it's super nerdy to say, but I don't care, I'm a nerd, alright? It really adds a special layer that I think a lot of people miss out on, and I enjoy. What other games besides that? I don't know, I'd have to have my game library in front of me, but what about you?
I actually like a lot of single-player shooter games. Be a third person or first person, doesn't really matter, as long as it's engaging and the story is halfway decent and the mechanics obviously work. Like the older Call of Duty series, the older Battlefield series.
Battlefield, love me some Battlefield.
Yeah, those. I mean, now they're getting kind of dodgy. I'm not really liking them too much.
Well, you're not playing any
They're
of
little,
the new Call of Duty games at all.
They're just a little too. You have to do this path. If you even deviate, you automatically die, and that's kind of stupid. But yeah, those games. What else do I play? Some RP games.
You'll play some indie games too.
Every once in a while.
Especially since you've been subscribed to Total Biscuit and all.
Yeah, I like seeing what he has to say about some of these, and then I'll try it out. Bastion being one of them. His initial review of that game is what got me to try it, and then I saw that he gave it like his top game of the year or whatever for, 2011 or 12. So I was like, yeah, I definitely agree for that one because it was an amazing game. But I don't know, I'll dabble into pretty much anything as long as the reviews are pretty good, and give it its due.
If Angry Joe says it's good, I play it.
Yeah, I mean, if he's gonna say it's good, I mean...
Angry Joe, I like his opinions on things. He seems to have a lot of the same opinions that I have, and he gets very enthusiastic about certain games.
I see him drinking Red Bull all the time. I'm like, why are you drinking Red Bull?
You're the last person that needs it,
You do
right?
not need any caffeine or sugar in your system ever.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll admit, I should actually, and not a lot of people say this, but I should play more games. And by that I mean I should play newer games, because I tend to be the person that has my old list of games that I'll go back to and replay like over and over, because I don't know, I like approaching them at different directions. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to start the channel too, is to expose myself to other games.
Eventually you'll get to the new games once they're older. No one plays them anymore and cares. Alex Hurley asks, Kyle, why does it sound like you have a southern accent? I didn't realize I had a southern accent.
I didn't either. I
mean, I know sometimes I play a southern accent just to get some laughs out of people, but
yeah, I mean,
maybe because I did live in Georgia for about 5 years, so maybe that southern drawl went on to me a little bit. I told myself I would kill myself if I ever did get that southern drawl. But luckily the area I lived in, Georgia, was Air Force Base, so there was a lot of people from different parts of the country, so not a lot of people had accents there, so I don't think I got one, really. I mean, a lot of our family does.
And we're talking about Georgia, the state here.
Yeah, not the country.
Not the country. Yeah, so we do live in the U.S., specifically Florida is where both of us have spent a majority of our lives.
That's a future question.
Okay.
So we'll skip that one. We live in Florida, so we'll skip that one.
Yeah, we live in Florida, and misconception. Some people think that Floridians have like a southern accent.
A lot of people do.
Tallahassee and around Lake Okeechobee, but the majority of Florida, at least all the places that I have been, don't have southern accents.
Yeah, the more urban areas, like Palm Beach, Orlando, and Jackson. Well, maybe not even Jacksonville, but
and then there's that Miami where
yeah.
everyone's Spanish.
Miami. Yeah, Hialeah. Oh Jesus.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I stay away from there because they have like Spanish above English over there, and I get lost. Have you ever driven around Miami? Like, have you ever actually been able to drive around Miami
No,
and
not
find
myself.
anything anywhere? There are so many roads. I don't see how people get around.
Oh
that
no,
place.
I'd hate to. I wouldn't like to live there. Great place to visit, terrible place to live, I think.
Yeah.
If you live in Miami, no offense to you. This is just personal preference.
And I don't have a damn accent. All right, so from Mara Hernandez. Oh, hey, look. Hi, Mara.
Hey,
where are
Mara.
you guys located? Oh, wait, this was the question. No specifics, really. I'm just not sure if you are Canadian or American. Also, coffee or tea, biscuits or cookies.
As he sips his Earl Grey.
Yeah, we're opposites. I guess you're more the tea person, Josh.
Yeah.
And I myself, being Kyle, for those who don't know our voices yet, am a coffee drinker.
Yeah, I find I shouldn't be very offended because, there's people that have just watched us or haven't watched us for very long. But when people are like, they call us by our wrong names.
All the time,
like,
yeah.
oh, Kyle said this. And I'm like, no, that was me. I said that.
I love Kyle's voice in the lore videos. It's like, what? I'm not voiced in the lore videos. Well, sometimes, but
Yeah, but so I worked at Starbucks for a time, and I hated coffee when I started that job. I hated it more when I ended that job, and I
they
recently
sell tea there too.
Yeah, they do sell. I did like their iced tea, and then I wouldn't normally drink beverages waking up and stuff like that, but I recently got into Star Trek. And and Mr. Jean-Luc Picard, who drinks Earl Grey tea, is a very suave and
Hot.
sophisticated man. And so when we do our recordings from now on, I drink Earl tea, hoping that his energies will somehow be transferred into
Patrick Stewart's spirit just goes into you.
Yeah, just by the power of the tea itself, which.
And by the way, whenever he's making it, he puts it in the microwave like he's getting it out of the replicator, and he says Earl Grey, or what'd you say? Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Such a nerd. Okay, biscuits or cookies?
Biscuits. I like Total Biscuits, but not. Actually, you know what? I'm not a big cookie fan. I'm not a big sweet fan in general.
Well, you see, there's also like the big controversy over like what products are, whether they are biscuits or cookies. So, like, there's that conundrum as well. Like the Jaffa cake. Some say they're biscuits. Well, I don't even know how you can say those are cookies. They're biscuits. I guess other people say they might be cakes. Cakes or biscuits. Those are good though. I like those Jaffa things. I get them on Amazon sometimes.
Only in a first world country can you have arguments as lame as that.
I know. Yeah, we're arguing over what to call our food. Not if we can have food, but what we call it.
Exactly. God bless
I'm also
America.
a Fig Newton fan, and
Oh yeah, you eat those by the sleeve.
yeah, man, like a tree. What was that? A tree chipper? Yeah, okay. Who was that? Brian Regan? Yeah.
We watch a lot of stand-up.
Yeah, we do. But I don't know. I'll eat whatever's in the closet, I guess. So Nash Bob asks us, how did you get into podcasting?
Wow, do we want to start from the beginning of time?
Not really. Let's just touch on the highlights.
Sure. Okay. We started with a little channel called Radon Gaming that you can go and look up today, and yeah. Well, I'll start from first my inspiration of it. I never really listened to podcasts up until World of Warcraft, and there was this thing called WC Radio at the time that Mr. Total Biscuit was actually a part of before a lot of people knew who he was. And that really got me into podcasting because I was super into WoW, and I would listen to that on my iPod. I would listen to all those podcasts. And so when Skyrim was rolling around, I was like, well, I love the Elder Scrolls series so much, and I feel like I could talk about it a lot. So why not turn that into something constructive and, YouTube about it? And so that's how Radon Gaming started. And we covered that. Kyle hopped on the channel every now and then as Electric Gorilla was his name, but that was a YouTube channel that died in its infancy because of YouTube's crazy policies and stuff like that. Apparently our video got posted somewhere, and ZeniMax Media Inc., who I'm very pissed off at because they reported our video to YouTube, even though it was totally under fair use and all that. And anyway, that video got taken down, and I lost all interest because of that fact. And yeah, and then we had do we want to say the Sega of how
the saga, not the Sega.
the
saga, not the console.
the saga of how this channel started, or what was the actual
I guess
question? It said how you got into podcasting.
We can do whatever we want. This is our freaking Q&A, and we answer what we want.
Well, I don't know if that question will come up later.
I don't think I chose that, but I guess it was a creative outlet for us to I guess excuse the amount of hours that we've been pouring into Elder Scrolls, be it Skyrim and ESO. So we wanted it to be, and Guild Wars 2. We wanted it to just, be a creative outlet. That was our excuse
to play more
to sink as much time as possible into these games.
Yeah, because that was something
otherwise it would feel like a waste of time or something like that.
Yeah, which it's totally not. Come on, it's entertainment. Well, yeah, it is. It's supposed to be a waste of time. Anyway, yeah, the whole point is of like starting the YouTube thing and stuff like that was basically I felt this need. If I played games for too long without doing something creative with it or something constructive, like I'd feel like I was wasting my time. And so yeah, YouTube was a way to, like you said, excuse myself from that. So, yeah. And, yeah, that's how the channel first started. Shoddycast started as a Guild Wars, as an excuse to play more Guild Wars.
Yep.
Basically. Like, okay, if we're podcasting about it, then, you know, it's got some sort of meaning other than just sinking my hours into this thing.
Yep. Ryan Webster, if you reach max level, what will you do? Stop playing PvP or try to get all your skills level 100? Well, I know for me, the game cannot stop at max level because, like we've said before, and like ZeniMax says...
and by the game, we're talking about the Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
The game.
Reaching level 50 is not even a third of the game. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours just of exploring all of Tamriel and ESO. And that's definitely something we're both going to want to do. And then, of course, there is PvP, there is dungeons, there are adventure zones, all these things to do. It's going to be quite an endeavor. And when people are saying it's like, oh, well, the game is not going to be interesting after a few months, how can you possibly say that? There's no way you can get through the game in just a couple months. There's no possible way. So this game is definitely going to have the longevity that Guild Wars 2 didn't have for us. Just because that game was designed without an end game. I guess the game itself, the leveling, was supposed to be their end game, I guess. I didn't really understand their whole philosophy behind that. And I think that's why a lot of people have left it. But that's one of those, things... It's a free-to-play game, at least once you buy the game, so it's not like you are forced to play. You can dabble in it whenever you feel like playing some Guild Wars 2. But anyways, I think the first thing I'm going to be doing is just, I like to max out a lot of my skill lines and stuff and unlock pretty much everything I possibly can. So that's what the most of my focus is going to be going on. And then that also involves crafting as well. I was never a huge crafter, but I did start getting into it in Guild Wars 2 because they did have a very good crafting system.
Very
in that.
good. Yeah.
And we're glad to see that ESO is going to have a very robust crafting system. So definitely going to be doing a lot of that. So there's just so much stuff to do in this game.
Yeah, I don't play games to reach max level. So for me, this question's already asking the wrong question. For me personally, I feel playing games to reach max level is a super depressing reason to play a game. And the last game I played to reach max level would be World of Warcraft. You know, I played SWTOR because it was a BioWare game with BioWare RPG elements in it. I played Guild Wars 2 because not only were my friends playing it, but it seemed to be a very promising MMO in its exploration side. I was looking forward to exploring the world. Max level is not even a thought in my mind when I'm approaching a game like The Elder Scrolls Online. I'm approaching the game as, you know, like an RPG that I can play with other friends and stuff like that. And I'll tell you guys right now, it's going to be a long time before I reach max level in The Elder Scrolls Online. I get too distracted with all the shinies, and I'm not in it to win it either at all. I just want to enjoy it. If I'm having fun and goofing off with other people, then yeah, it's a fun game for me. So max level, yeah, not really a concern in my book.
All right. Fab Utro, I'm going to assume that's how you pronounce that. Do you guys have day jobs? If you get big, will you become full-time YouTubers? And would you like and maybe see yourself doing that? So, I don't technically have a day job. It's a nighttime job.
Yeah.
I work the graveyard shift at a place that shall not be named. It's not like a strip club or anything, so don't think that. But yeah, I work very unusual hours. So that's my quote-unquote day job, even though it's a night job. I guess you have a couple other things that you do.
Yeah, well, that will
You've always been the entrepreneurial type person, so you have your own things going on, but he definitely has other things besides just this going on.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting story, because the last quote-unquote real job I've had was working at Starbucks, which I quit when I was 16 and a half, something like that. It's actually a very interesting story, and this would maybe be like a whole nother video on its own if you'd ever want to know about it. But I was able to quit my job at Starbucks, interesting enough. We're going back to that whole thing where if I'm playing a game for very, very long hours, I have to somehow be constructive with it. I was writing World of Warcraft leveling guides at the time. I really, really hated my job at Starbucks enough where I was looking for excuses to get out of it. And yeah, well, very, very long story short, I ended up writing this 400 plus page guide. Yeah, I'm freaking crazy, I know. And I sold it on eBay. And that's how I made enough money to pay for gas and to pay for the car and stuff like that to quit my job at Starbucks. And ever since then, I've always found a way of making money either online or, you know, I actually started a summer camp here with my dad, purely seasonal, you know, as the name entails, here in Florida. And so during the summer months, I'm especially busy doing that, running the summer camp, mainly marketing. I'm a student of business first, and so yeah, that's what I do. And then other than that, I'm always finding ways to make a living, kind of just doing what I love on the internet somehow. And you know, YouTube is currently definitely helping out in that endeavor, I guess. But yeah, I would definitely like to get to the point to where the channel would be able to get you out of your job, because we would be able to do so much more if you were freed up by it. Because
just content wise, if I wasn't spending 40 hours plus like another 10 hours commute at my other job, we would be able to put out so much more content on a bunch of other games and other topics and stuff like that. But just right now, it's not possible.
Could you see a future where YouTube was your career? Because that's a very real thing nowadays.
For sure. I would love to work in my boxers and not like have to even leave my house to work. That's like the dream, isn't it? To work in your PJs?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
At least for me.
Personally, I would never see YouTube as a career. I love it as a hobby and as a way to really, what YouTube has been for me is a serious learning experience. You know, I love what I have learned from this. And if tomorrow the channel, and I've said this before, if tomorrow the channel up and disappeared, crashed and burned, yeah, I'd be super depressed for a little bit. But I'd be able to walk away saying, man, I took a lot away from that experience. I was able to learn a lot. But no, the YouTube thing is something that I'll be around and doing for a very long time with you, because it's a lot of fun. It's just fun.
And there's always other platforms and other things we can do using the group that we have, our viewers and stuff that know us and things like that. We can still use the name for other endeavors and stuff if YouTube for some reason were to just crash and burn.
Oh yeah, Twitch TV is something we'll definitely be looking into more and more. Live streaming, I think, would be a very fun and exciting thing to do. So yeah, so that's where we're at with that.
All right. Next question from Isaac Thompson. What were your play types when you initially bought new ES games? I guess this can either mean like play styles, or like combat-wise, or just how you played the game.
How would I approach it? Okay. When I first ever approached Oblivion, I didn't really know what deep and immersive RPG game would be like. So I just rushed through the main storyline and found out, wait a second, there's actually more depth to this game than that. I can actually go out of my way and explore and do stuff. Nowadays, when I play an Elder Scrolls game, like when I jumped into Skyrim for the first time, you know, I was in the line, for the pre-order thing at GameStop at midnight for the midnight release. And I went home to my box of Cheez-Its sitting by the computer and said, all right, I can't wait to do this. Made my character. First thing I did when I got in the world, I ran off. Just ran in a random direction, because I think that's a beautiful thing that you can go off and explore. So that's what the Elder Scrolls games are for me as far as how I approach them now. I run off in a random direction and see exactly how much shit I can find.
What about combat-wise? How do you usually play?
Like I said before, like I'm drawn toward a stealthy element. No matter what character I play, I'm gonna have a sneak in there for sure. Now that doesn't mean I'm always gonna go bow and arrows and daggers or anything like that, because Skyrim I actually made this sneaky berserker-like mage character as my first guy. You know, I don't approach an Elder Scrolls game knowing exactly what class I'm gonna play. I just start and I kind of gravitate whatever's the most fun, and I have a feeling that's how it's gonna be for the Elder Scrolls Online too. You know.
I am the person, and you already know this, rushes through the main story. Like, I just want to know the whole story. I want to know how it begins, how it plays out, and how it ends. And I just want to know that. And then I'll start dabbling into the side quests and stuff like that. So that's definitely what I did when Skyrim came out. I just wanted to know the whole story. I was finished with that whole story in like probably that first day. I was pretty much done with the main story.
And I said,
and then
what?
I started going out and you know, because I played that for like a solid 18 hours or something like that. Yeah.
That's super depressing to admit.
Well, I know, but I had my whole, like, I had like a 12-pack case of Monster energy drink, and I had Wheat Thins, I had chicken biscuits.
Oh, yeah, man.
I was just ready to go and not leave. If I had like a catheter and, you know, piss bag, I would have that hooked up too.
Do you have the pee bottle, man?
But no, luckily my bathroom was 2 feet away, so it didn't take too much out from my gaming experience.
I bet that must have been.
It was hard to get off.
Using this trash can next to us right here. You contemplated using that.
Oh, but yeah, I definitely like to just know what the main storyline is before I start going off into doing all the other goodies in the world. As for my like combat style, I am pretty eclectic with that, actually. I like to experience all the different combat styles, and I try to stick with particular combat styles and not mix them up. So like if I'm going to do magic, it's going to be pure magic. If I'm going to do a stealthy character, it's pretty much just going to be stealth bows and arrows and maybe like swords or something. And then I have done a sword and board character, which was sort of fun, especially in higher levels when you get like that upgraded shield bash, where you just knock people back like, you know, 10 feet.
Like
that's awesome. Yeah, the whole charging and running and hitting them thing was awesome. As for my favorite, I'm really loving my Conjuration Destro mage right now that I made. Yeah, thanks to Elder Scrolls Off the Record, their whole mage challenge thing. I was like, oh, all right, I'll do a pure-blooded mage again, and just really stick with it. And like I had my enchanting maxed out. I had that maxed out before anything else was my enchanting, just so I can be able to cast magic like crazy, and have to even worry about my magicka now. But yeah, it's been tons of fun. So I'm gonna say mage for right now at least. But I think when Elder Scrolls comes out, or ESO comes out, it's gonna be that Dar Turok, my Dark Brotherhood assassin type character. All right, so next one from Maurice Kern the Fourth. Are you guys pro Mayo or Miracle Whip?
Wow, this is not hard at all, actually. Mayo, without doubt.
Have you had Miracle Whip?
I have had Miracle Whip.
Two Tangy Whip. Whip.
Yeah.
Miracle Whip.
When I was a chubby adolescent and I was going on my health kicks, I would use Miracle Whip, and I actually acquired a taste for it. I firmly believe anyone, and this is a belief I hold very close to my heart too, so don't argue with me here, but anyone who eats Miracle Whip long enough will get used to it and actually like it. That being said, I did gravitate back to mayo. So there you go.
I never liked Miracle Whip. I've had it and I didn't mind it, but it's, if I had to choose, or I had the choice, I would say mayo. Now as for brands, either Kraft or the Publix brand. I actually like the Publix brand one.
So you heard it here.
Yeah,
the
man.
official mayo of the Shoddy Cast.
So Kraft, if you want to sponsor us, go at it. Alright, so next one from Alex Pelt. What type of PCs are you running, and what is the story behind Kyle's boy?
Oh, God.
So PCs, neither of us have anything like really aggressively amazing. I just have a, what do I have? I have a Phenom 2 6-core stuff and a 6850.
I think you'd be more sophisticated about it, especially since you built it.
It's a Phenom 2 X6 something, you know. Okay, and as for the graphics card, I got a 6850. It's an HD with the dual fan XFX series thing. I remember when I was building it, I didn't realize how big the graphics cards had gotten until I got that, and I thought it was like an old VCR or something. It was so massive. I was like, "What the? How this will fit? How will this fit?"
Back before they had their own designated fans on.
Yeah, and mine has 2 of them.
They have like exhaust coming off of it.
Mine does
like,
have exhaust. I was like, "Wow, this is a beefy ass card." At least it was, you know, a year and a half ago or something. I mean, I'm sure I'll upgrade it eventually to the 670 GTX. I like the 670. Screw the 690. But anyways. 16 gigs of RAM, kind of proud of that, and they're cool looking RAM too.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have it for video editing and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Good processor and good RAM.
Anything else worth talking about? There's other stuff in there, but whatever. What do you have? Do you remember?
My baby was built on CyberPower, and I had so little knowledge about what was good at the time that my computer was basically built, or at least the specifications were decided by people on the forums that were helping me out. I was like, guys,
I don't know
is
what
this...
I need.
I threw together something. I was like, is this good? And everybody was like, no, that's terrible. So they basically took it and ran with it and made me a PC. And 4 or 5 years later, it serves me very well to this day. And I'm able to play every game I've played has been in max settings and has gone over without a hitch. So
yeah, I can play Crysis 3 on, at least on medium, with at like 60 to 70 something frames a second, so that's fine. I had no problems with mine, and I probably won't upgrade it just for ESO or anything, so I'm happy with it.
yeah, but then the console out there gets so neglected. The Xbox
That poor
360,
thing.
it's the Netflix box. That's what we call
That's
it.
all it's for.
Yeah.
Should have just got a Wii just for the free Netflix. That's what you should have got. The story behind my buy. For those of you who don't know, I finish out our videos every single time with
The buy
a
is
boy.
a love-hate thing. Some
Boy.
people either like it or some people hate it.
What's to hate about it? I don't know.
I heard one guy stops the video before you say it, apparently. He anticipates the buy and stops the video right before your buy goes.
Whatever, screw you, man. As for where it came from, I don't know. I'm just kind of a random person sometimes.
Oh, be
and
honest. It's a story. You've told
There
me.
isn't a
the
story.
epic-
Where's the story?
The long epic story of your buy.
Oh. What was it, Cleveland?
Yeah.
Was it Cleveland? Okay. Alright, so I was at this, it was a metal bar actually, I didn't tell you this, as in like the music genre. It was a metal bar, there was this waitress there, slash bartender.
This is what Kyle told me when I asked him, like, really, where did the bike come from?
A lot of tattoos and stuff, some piercings, some crazy ass hair. But anyway, she kind of invited me to the back.
As they tend to do.
Yeah, I was kind of drunk, but not overly drunk. And yeah, she started undressing. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. And then she had a penis, and I was like, oh, okay, boy. And then I left. It didn't really happen, but
It totally happened.
It was much more epic when I told you it the first time. I don't know where that even came from, but
it was so spur of the moment and random. That was awesome.
As for where it actually came from, I don't know. I always say bye kind of weird because it's always awkward.
It kind of weird.
It's usually long and drawn out though. It's usually like bye or something like that.
That's how it used to be. Yeah.
And so that's just like a shortened version of it. So it's just boy.
Yeah. So.
And it's just gotten shorter. So that's the story behind the crappy bye that I say.
There you go.
And I'm totally going to say bye like that at the end of this video. So that jerk out there who doesn't like my bye, you better, click stop or back.
You should just say it randomly throughout the video.
Oh, I'm going to. I should. I didn't even notice. I got another one from this Isaac Thompson person. Considering you two are brothers and all, yes, we are brothers. We're not gay or anything. Who is the older sibling, and do you guys have any other siblings?
It's funny, it's like, oh yeah, Josh and Kyle live together.
Yeah, we live together, but we are brothers.
Roommates.
So obviously you guys know Kyle, myself, am older than, my crappy-ass little brother. Technically, we're half-brothers. We're not going to get into all that because, we see ourselves as just brothers.
Yeah.
And we do have other siblings. We have two other sisters. Other sisters. I don't know why I said other. We have two sisters.
Yeah, both younger.
Yeah.
Both younger. Ashley and Kaylee.
Ashley
Ashley's
and
2
Kaylee.
years younger than me, which she's 18 or something. And then our youngest sister is actually adoptive sister, but again, don't really think about it like that anymore. And she's 8 or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, very wide range of children here.
Yes.
27 the oldest, 8
almost
being
a
the
20-year
youngest.
difference between the oldest and youngest.
Yeah.
And I've also always been the eldest too, of all our cousins and stuff too. I'm pretty much the oldest.
Yeah. How does that feel, by the way? Being old like that. How does that...
Our family has never been hugely close, so I've never really had to deal with it.
Yeah.
Except for huge family gatherings.
True.
And they've never looked up to me. What's there to look up to? Next question from Natalie Rose Marion. Hey, a few questions for your ask. Yeah, okay. How did you first get into gaming? What are your favorite books? What genre do you find
Hey, limit one question per person.
in gaming and or literature? What else besides gaming do you like to do in your free time? Jesus, that was a lot of questions.
Jeez.
Let's just go in order. How did we first get into gaming? Actually, I got into gaming because Dad sort of dabbled in gaming when even I was
so
really
weird
young.
to think about now.
Yeah, our first PC was this Acer, and it was green. And, it was really crappy even back then. It was
In the townhouse.
when Pentium was new. Actually, did we have a Pentium 2 or did we have a Pentium 1 in that? I cannot remember. But Air Warrior was the first game that I actually would just watch my dad play, and then I would start playing it. It was a browser-based air combat game. So we actually played that. It was really cool, even for back then, because you can group up with other people around the world and go on bombing missions and stuff, or just get into a fighter, a Spitfire or something, and start
you guys
blasting
would
people
play
out
with
of the sky.
Uncle Vincent stuff.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh god, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
Also, I played another browser game, and this was such a shitty game looking back on it. You're talking about polygons, actual just shapes that are supposed to be trees and towers and stuff. They're just shapes, and we were in these mechs, battle mechs and stuff, and was just shooting things and
Mech Warrior?
No, this was not Mech Warrior. No, this was before even Mech Warrior.
Is this on a floppy or something?
No, this was an internet browser game.
Oh.
And yeah, it was so shitty. I mean, oh my god. But I still had so much fun playing it. And then of course there was the what was it? Free Space. That spaceship mining type game where you had to go through the different mines and stuff, and you'd have these different robot creatures, other miners that would come. Oh, was it Descent? Why am I thinking Free Space?
Descent.
Free Space was another game that played that.
Descent.
But yeah, Descent. That was it.
It's a sci-fi game. spaceship type flying around game.
There's sort of spaceships, and then there was like you were fighting mining droids for some reason in these different things. I don't remember the whole story behind it, but yeah, I remember those stupid claws with the diamond pick claw things would come out from the darkness and scare the shit out of me because they would make
super scary.
Yeah, they
when
would make those like shink sound because they would attack you from behind, and I was like, oh my god!
Like
and
playing
then,
a game where
I remember you would hide like your face in the couch whenever Dad would play.
gosh,
You wouldn't even watch.
Oh, how old was I?
Like
8?
4.
Not even. Yeah. That stuff freaked me out.
Oh man.
Freak out.
But yeah, those are some of my first gaming experiences, and that probably what's initially got me interested into it. So I guess blame Dad for our gaming.
Yeah, so our dad got us into drugs. Drugs being gaming. Yeah, because my earliest memory, my first memory of gaming was sitting on my dad's lap playing Descent, and he would fly the ship, and my only job was the space bar, and the space bar would be the firing button. So he would say, "Fire now, number 1," and I'd start hitting the space bar, you know.
I guess we should say Dad was heavy into Star Trek, The Next Generation, when it was, you know, a weekly show still then.
Yeah, it's funny because our dad, like,
he was a closet nerd.
He was a sports guy and stuff like that, but he was a closet nerd. He was into the Star Trek and into gaming before gaming was cool. So, yeah. And to this day, he doesn't play really games anymore. He played the Madden, the football games for quite a while. But yeah, like you said before, games were this thing that I would get into, but they were scary for the most part when I was young. Like, I remember being terrified by, like, in the arcade, like, what was that? It was not Left 4 Dead, House of the Dead, I think was the name of the game. And I remember having nightmares about those games.
You were always kind of a little bit of a twitchy kid, though, growing up.
Yeah, but you know that sort of thing, like, it's scary, but that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
And so I just kept coming back, and eventually I grew desensitized, and that's where I stand today, a desensitized person. All
right, we got to start burning through some of these questions.
Yeah.
So let's finish up with this question. Book genre. What's your favorite book genre?
Book genre. Well, I'd have to say business.
Oh, Jesus.
As boring as that is.
What the hell?
The majority of the books I read are business books.
I like
Super
fantasy.
Boring to most people.
I like fantasy, be it like medieval or sci-fi. Ender Game, love that. The whole Game of Thrones series I've listened to. Let me just say, I don't like reading books per se because I start wandering, my mind starts wandering, and I kind of forget what the hell I just read. But instead, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, unabridged, so I still get all that quality content in my heads.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been through so many books. This past year, I must have listened to several weeks worth of just, solid hours worth of weeks of just books.
Yeah. I've learned more from books than I ever learned in school. From books and real life experiences, and I firmly believe that audiobooks and just flat out buying the books, like motivational and business, have made a massive, massive impact in my life, and so that's where that came from. But actually what got me into books for the first time was the Aragon book.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, which I actually bought because the cover looked cool. Sat in my room for months and months, and one day was sick from school and picked it up and started reading. And yeah, from then on I became a book reader.
All right, so besides gaming, what do we do on our free time?
Gaming.
What free time? What is there besides gaming? I don't know. I go out sometimes and do other stuff. Sometimes gaming at what's that place? Dave and Buster's. I love that place.
Yeah. We living here in the Orlando area, Islands of Adventure.
You told them we live in Orlando now?
Oh, we said that
Jesus.
videos and videos ago. Yes, we live in the Orlando area.
Anyways, we go to amusement parks.
Amusement parks, Universal and Islands of Adventure, those are our playgrounds. And we go ride roller coasters a lot.
Which we were totally going to go to Monday, but couldn't because
it's spring
breakers.
There's no way. The lines are way too long. We go when nobody's there, so there's no lines. We get to run straight to the front of the line. And then other things I do in my spare time, I don't know, projects. Usually business-type projects I get really
I enjoy bowling. Bowled a 206 once.
Sometimes
I was really drunk.
I like staring at the ceiling. Like, that's fun, too.
You do
Have you
stare.
ever done that? Just stare
no,
at the
I
ceiling?
don't.
It's so It's a thrill ride. It's a non-stop thrill
Wow,
ride.
okay. From Sterling Jennings. People are going to hate us now because of this. We shouldn't have done this at all.
We're so sarcastic.
Sterling
like,
Jennings.
that's just-
I know, but like it's a dry sarcasm too, so they probably think we're serious most of the time. I was wondering, at what age did you both get serious into gaming? Kind of answered that already. Really young. Like where did your passion begin? Super Nintendo, PS1, etc. And what games did you start with? So I guess PC mainly, but also my dad did buy a Nintendo, the original NES, when it came out, before you were born, and I played that.
I can't imagine a world without me. It's
There was a
inconceivable.
time I existed and you didn't, and yeah, I remember playing Nintendo on that, or Nintendo on that. Wow, Mario Brothers on that. We had Duck Hunt with the whole gun thing, and also had a Sega Genesis that I played a lot on. Then Nintendo 64. Really got into the Zelda series there, which
Gosh.
actually made me go back and play some Zelda on the original NES. I never got a Super Nintendo, but Julian had one, our cousin had one, and I played that every once in a while whenever I would go over there. But yeah, PC I would say is where it all began, honestly.
Yeah. There's definitely a spot where gaming started, like when I found out the fact that I was like really, really into games. I'll bring up RuneScape. All the friends at school were playing RuneScape, and that was my first exposure. Okay, wait a second. These games are really cool, and like other people play them, and it's fun. But your passion doesn't start young. You're not developed enough to have that sort of appreciation. And so I would say my quote-unquote passion started for video games with the Elder Scrolls series. That's when I got interested in gaming as an industry and as art, really, would start with the Elder Scrolls.
Games aren't art.
I'm trying to be...
They can't be art
Hey,
because they're functional.
the Supreme Court says it's art.
Do
It's
they?
art. Yep.
Well, then I guess that they're saying games aren't functional. They have no functionality whatsoever.
Games are most
Well, they actually
certainly-
do, because they actually are now. There's studies actually coming out saying that gaming has a lot of actual health benefits, be it eye training and coordination and yeah, multitasking even and stuff like that. So there's actually a lot of studies coming out now that's actually sponsoring gaming, which is good. So stop bashing it all the time. Even first-person shooters. they're saying.
Any new form of media or entertainment that comes along is going to be bashed just because it's unfamiliar,
And then
people
accepted.
are afraid of the unfamiliar, and then yes, it'll be accepted. You know, gaming is whatever you make it. So
All right.
anyway.
All right, yeah, we do got to get through these. Natix OMG, what kind of videos are you guys planning on making when ESO comes out?
What kind of videos do we plan
Yeah.
on making? Whatever we feel like, you know.
Yeah.
Basically, the channel, we don't want to make it like a job, like as far as this is something I have to come back and do. You know, it's always going to be whatever feels like our most inspired work. And currently that feels like the Elder Scrolls Online because we're really hyped about it. And then for me, that'll always be the Elder Scrolls series because I'm always hyped about Elder Scrolls, no matter if there's an upcoming game for it or not. So when the Elder Scrolls Online comes out, though, I very much want to explore with live streaming. I think that would be very,
I think
very
that's going to
fun.
be the majority of our actual ESO content is going to be live streaming. Either be it if YouTube fixes their damn live streaming, because I don't know, it's kind of twitchy right now. But yeah, probably Twitch TV is probably going to be our main platform for that. And then, but we're going to be moving on to other games as well.
Yeah.
And that's going to be our content on YouTube for the most part, with the occasional ESO stuff thrown in there. But yeah, I mean, that's the plan, at least, I guess, is to focus on mainstreaming for the ESO aspect of our channel, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, we plan on doing that, maybe some guides and stuff like that. Like I did enjoy doing the farming guides for Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, and
I just ran out of stuff to do, though.
I like playing on the auction houses a lot, so I might share insight into trading and stuff like that because I like getting rich in my MMO, so
Yeah, man.
stuff like that. But you know, pretty much, yeah, whatever we feel like doing at the time and whatever's fun to us, you know, because if you're making a video that you yourself don't feel is fun, your audience is going to pick up on that immediately. You know, they know whether or not the content you're making is something you're actually passionate about yourself. So yeah, that's how we move forward with that.
All right, next one from Spore Junk 78. Dear Shardycast, do you think is the most difficult obstacle relating to your YouTube channel? What do you think?
YouTube was my obstacle.
Yeah, just getting past YouTube's policies and learning to deal with all of their weird little quips or whatever you want to call them that we have to deal with just to, make sure our videos are done right, monetized and all that kind of stuff. There's all those little things you need to learn.
Yeah, and YouTube, we're obviously going to sing the praises about it too, because it's great that we can put out our content like this and get it exposed, and it's a very pure form of media because it's straight from us to you, and there's no filter involved. But YouTube really needs some freaking improvement in the communication department, because if you want to call up YouTube or email YouTube, it is freaking hard to impossible.
Yeah, hopefully you have at least 3 days of,
not even that, like
nothing else to do but wait on YouTube to answer you back.
And even then, it's usually an automated type message that's super lame, pointing you to a thread somewhere that has no relevance to what you're talking about. So yes, I would say YouTube is a major obstacle, just because they don't do much in the way of communication, and yeah, it makes me sad.
All right, so from Trickers Productions, would you consider doing a collaboration guild for Tesso or one mega guild? I think we're actually kind of already gonna have this. Like, we're friends with Guild Umbra and people over at Elder Scrolls Off the Record and Tamriel Foundry. A lot of these people are gonna have their own guilds. And so we're probably just naturally going to have this alliance because we're all trying to work together and keep it friendly.
Luckily, we're all on the Aldmeri Dominion.
Yeah, and we're all basically going to be on the Aldmeri Dominion.
That helps.
So, yeah, we're pretty much going to have this like sort of alliance of press, I guess, of the press.
Yeah, it's a community is what it is. And the great thing about YouTube, podcasting, websites like this, it's not a product that people pay for and this guy buys your product and he can no longer buy somebody else's. It's the audience is shared. So you can build this community and be friendly with each other, and it's perfectly okay. And that's one of the reasons I really like YouTube too, because in my other work in business, with the eBay stuff and with the camp stuff, you're constantly worrying about your competitors. Or YouTube, it's not like that. You get to just relax and even collaborate with them.
Yep.
So.
Next one from Green Ghost 2008. Ever play Warhammer or any other tabletop games?
Tabletop games. We've been really getting into Will Wheaton's tabletop series on YouTube and the Geek and Sundry channel, and I've never really played tabletop games outside of the game Risk, which I loved.
Monopoly.
And obviously Monopoly and all the other but as far as hardcore real tabletop games, I would love to play them. I just don't know enough people that like that sort of thing.
Yeah. So if you're in the Orlando area and you enjoy tabletop games, maybe send us an invite.
Yeah, hit us up.
I like Settlers of Catan, and I played a couple other sort of weird tabletop games when I was younger. But yeah, it's definitely something I would like to get into, just because it does have that community aspect, just having a good time, maybe have a beer, chatting about stuff, and just a good way to unwind, but still have an interactive activity to do.
Definitely, yeah. Face-to-face interaction with humans isn't so bad.
Yeah, sometimes. From 3 Munchin Man. I'm not used to reading people's usernames. They're really weird. 3 Munchin Man. Did you guys ever play Nintendo games? So I answered this.
Boo! I'm just kidding. No.
I played quite a bit of Nintendo games, including N64. Loved the Zelda series. I actually just recently got my Nintendo 64 back. from Montana all the way across the country. So I got that back, and you know, tons of games. Of course, now it's not even hooked up again. It was hooked up for like all of a week before we moved equipment around, so it needs to be hooked up again.
I totally lied.
What's that?
I said that Xbox 360 was my first console when the Wii actually was.
Oh God!
I just
don't
didn't-
admit that.
I just didn't classify. I guess in my mind
That's
I
not
don't
a
register it. I don't register it.
It's not even a console. It's just there. It just exists.
No, but I actually the first like couple weeks I played the Wii, I had so much fun with like Super Mario Galaxy. It was a fun game. Zelda Twilight Princess was my first like Zelda game that I really played legitimately. Because I did play Majora's Mask on the Nintendo 64 for years, but I wasn't evolved enough as a gamer to appreciate it. And I'm not a big Nintendo fan in general.
I was of the Game Boy.
Their library got exhausted very quickly with the Wii, and that's why I got the Xbox 360.
I love the Game Boy. What was it? Donkey Kong Country? Was that the one that was like the cartridge was yellow, I believe?
Yes. And
Man,
it's so funny
I
because
played that so much.
as the younger brother, I would get all the hand-me-downs. So I would get the Game Boy like years and years after the Game Boy was a
It was
thing.
black though, right? It was when not the colored. The screens weren't colored yet, but like the outside cases started
Yeah.
having different
You're
colors.
talking about just the straight-up Game Boy before the Game Boy
Yeah,
Color.
the brick Game Boy.
brick.
Yeah, I had a black one. And so you got that, I guess.
I'd get that. Yeah.
But then you got a PSP. I never had a PSP.
Oh
Screw
yeah,
you.
I got lucky.
Okay, Alaxor Gaming. What kind of recording and editing software, hardware do you guys use? Like video capture, mics, editing, etc.
Every respectable YouTuber owns a Snowball microphone.
At least initially. That's like the best USB mic you can get, at least.
Definitely, man. It's such an amazing price at like $60 on Amazon, and it's such a high quality for its price range that so many YouTubers you'll find will start with the Snowball microphone.
Yeah. Eventually, you know, they'll move on to the more hundreds of dollars condenser mics and stuff like that. But if you're just starting out, definitely go for the blue Snowball.
Yeah, it's got the Shahi has his thumbs of approval on that.
Yeah.
As far as recording software, Camtasia all the way, man. I love Camtasia.
Just because of its
accessibility.
yeah, it's very user friendly. I mean, we have Sony Vegas. I mean, I at least have it on my computer, but just
I'm so
tried to use it. Yeah, there's just oh my god, all these buttons. I don't know what it does, and I can like do the same stuff on Camtasia that I see other people doing on Sony Vegas. And I'm like, why am I going to go through all that if I can just do it on Camtasia? So I mean, eventually, maybe we'll start using Sony Vegas. Probably not, but I mean, we're happy with Camtasia. Now that you can actually say it.
It's just in our. Oh god, I used to call it Catsmia because I don't know what
Catsmia.
it's. I didn't know how to pronounce it. Again, me with my speech impediment and bad
Yeah.
grammar. But yeah, for the time being, like learning Sony Vegas is a time thing, you know. And all of our free time right now we spend with the YouTube stuff. So we're already our schedule's taken up.
Yep.
But one day, hopefully, we'll be able to learn it because everybody says Sony Vegas is superior, and I'm sure it is. But
As for video capture, we just use Fraps, at least for now, like pretty much everyone else uses. Eventually, if we do finally can afford those AV media cards, those capture cards, that has its own proprietary software that we'd probably be using.
yeah, but to start with, highly recommend Fraps. It's
Yeah,
very
you can't-
good. I mean,
can't
it's,
go wrong with
it's
it.
built for it. It's great. Yeah, definitely go for Fraps.
All right, I think that covers that. All right, next one from Kelvin Campbell. 2 questions. Hey, and then what? That's like 4 questions. You have 2 parts of the question.
He has a 1, 2, A, and a B. Wow. Wow.
Do you two consider yourselves West Coast or East Coast or Central people? I mean, we live on the East Coast, but it's not like we claim it.
Do we have
as
East Coast
ours.
pride? Like, oh man, East Coast
I
pride.
really don't care. I mean, technically we're Central Florida, so I guess you can say we're also Central people as well. But whatever. None of those? None of the above?
I'll tell you what, the West Coast, I think, is, from what I visited, is more beautiful in places, for sure. The East Coast, though, has so much history. And as kind of a history nerd buff myself, it's really cool visiting all the old places on the East Coast. Because, man, hey, original colonies, brother.
Yeah,
We got it here, man.
Man, original Spaniard over here.
Oh yeah, there you go, Florida.
All right, so the next one is how many hours, including research, do you spend over one average week? Whew.
Wait, what was the question?
How many hours, including research, do you spend over one average week?
Oh wow. Oh.
Including now with the lore series, which is probably taking up the bulk of everything.
Yeah. Oh god. I would say I probably spend an average of 5 hours a day just working with just on YouTube work. You would speak mostly to the research as far as the Elder Scrolls Online stuff. You get all the information.
Yeah,
on
I do
that.
the majority of the research for Elder Scrolls stuff, which is why I know some people have been asking why am I talking more frequently now in like the shoddy talks and stuff, more so than you do.
Because you're the guy with the answers.
Because yeah, I'm the one that like is has just looked up all the information.
I'm the
and
one
stuff like
asking
that.
the questions and reacting.
Basically,
where
yeah.
You're the one.
So that's why I'm talking more frequently now.
Yeah.
I usually edit the shoddy talks videos, the Monday and Wednesday videos, whereas Josh does the Friday videos and the lore videos. I do most of the screenshots that we edit then for the lore videos, but he does all like the editing and stuff and most of the voice acting or the narration.
Editing commentary and like the lore information and script you hear in the lore series is me. The pictures that you're seeing are like 95% Kyle.
Then we also have our Aussie friend.
Yeah, we got
does-
Nick over there doing he does special work for us where he's working on actually a super secret project right now that he's super excited about getting out. But oh yeah, that's a complete secret. That's on the down though. But yeah, so how many hours would you say if you had to throw a number out there? How many hours a week?
Let's add it up.
Does the humming help the thought process?
Oh God, what if I start adding in all the community stuff that I do as well? Since I handle most of that as well.
That is probably the thing that you spend, I think, majority of your time on. That people probably don't know the fact. Like, where my time is mostly spent on the lore videos, and I'm too busy doing that. You're spending majority of the time being the ShoddyCast kind of PR guy.
Yeah.
So whenever you guys are getting comments from the ShoddyCast on like on the Facebook, Twitter, anywhere, it's majority of the time, I'd say like 90% of the time, it's Kyle responding to you guys on that. So yeah.
All right, and then the final one from him is, how much more popular do you think you would have to get to make YouTube your job? We've been trying to calculate this at least till when I can do this full time.
Because that's the real goal, is getting Kyle out of his...
And we'd have to be technically about 3 times as popular as we are right now. If I can say that. I don't know if you can put that in that kind of perspective.
Getting like what, 75?
Monetarily, we'd have to be making about 3 times what we are now.
Like 50,000 views per video or something like that?
A week, do you mean?
50,000 views per video we release. Because right now, I think our average video...
like over a week span, though, you mean? Or like that day?
Over a week span.
Okay.
Yeah, I think our average video over a week span gets like 10,000 views.
Around there.
So maybe... No, I would say 50,000 though.
I don't know. 3 or 4 times. Stop thinking about it too hard.
Yeah, no, it's definitely... We don't think about, oh man, how many more do we need to get Kyle out of his job. We just try to put out our best work and
hope that someday it'll happen.
And hope that it sticks. We're just throwing poop on the wall, hoping it stays there, basically.
Anywho, next one from College Panda.
I try to make things sound gross.
I don't know why you do that.
It's this weird thing I do.
From College Panda, do you guys watch other YouTubers like How Y'all, which is a word apparently he just made up, watch you, like Game Grumps? So what other YouTubers do we watch? A lot of different gamer ones, a lot of TGS people I listen to.
Yeah, you got big into YouTube because you have so much downtime at your job.
Yeah, I do.
That's where you do a majority of your YouTube watching.
That's a good thing at working at night, though, is there is nothing to do. So I watch like 4 hours of YouTube a night.
And I would definitely say that that's what got you super interested in starting the ShoddyCast channel, was watching all those YouTubers. And my big inspiration, I've always said, was watching Total Biscuit go from just podcaster that a couple hundred people listen to all the way to what he is today was really, really cool following that journey that he made. And so he's been a big inspiration to me, but I watched a lot of other YouTubers too. Angry Joe is another big one.
So like I'm listening to Angry Joe, Total Biscuit, Jesse Cox,
Wooden Potatoes is one
Wooden
we listen to a lot.
Potatoes, and then there's a lot of sciencey stuff I like to watch, like the Sci Show. Head Squeeze is a new one with damn it, I can't remember his name, the British guy from Top Gear. What the hell's his name? Can't remember what it is. And
I listen to the Force Feed.
yeah, and Philip DeFranco show and SourceFed. So for my sort of newsy type stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of different ones that I watch because again, I have a lot of time to watch things. All right, so next one from Pants McGee. Favorite TV shows? Oh Jesus, so many.
Wow. Yeah, guys. Something you might not know about me, that I'm actually pretty big into television and movies, especially due to the influence of my one of my best friends, Graham. And oh gosh, like I could start listing them off right now. First of all, at the top of the list, Game of Thrones. And oh my gosh, this Sunday I'm so excited for Game of Thrones coming back on again. Firefly was another big show that I love. Arrested Development, as far as comedy is concerned, one of the best comedies, and I can't wait to see that come back to Netflix. Community is another good one.
So it's kind of. Have you watched it
now
recently?
that Dan Harmon is gone, it is losing some of its flavor for sure, without doubt. I'll tell you what, The Office. It was the first show that really got me into good television. Was The Office. I loved, and we're talking about the American version of The Office.
And I liked like the first 3 seasons of The Big Bang Theory, but now it's getting kind of meh. It's not the same anymore. Maybe because they're all like coupled up or something. I don't know. Except for Raj. Poor Raj. Look, he has that one chick now.
Yeah.
From that Oates. I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, and we've watched shows together too that we've tackled together.
Star Trek.
Star Trek has been one that we've been watching together.
Battlestar Galactica is a show I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
the remake.
Lost was a big one for me, which Kyle
never got into it, and I never will.
Got into it. That's a great show that if you follow really closely, you will like. I'm telling you now. And the people that hate the ending and all that, it's bullshit, man, because they just don't understand.
No,
they just don't understand.
I watched enough and watched the ending, and I still like it. It was stupid. It was stupid.
It wasn't. It was stupid if you didn't watch each and every episode.
I didn't have
before.
to. I still understood it.
You don't. No, you don't.
I understood
You're
it.
just so ignorant.
It's not.
So ignorant and arrogant all at the same time.
It's not worth my time.
Anyways,
Dragonborn Miner 165.
Wait, one thing though. I want to plug my buddy's podcast because I do co-host, which a lot of people don't know is I actually co-host a podcast called "And Your Brain Turns to Mush" on iTunes. And I do that with my buddy Graham. I'll go ahead and put a link in the video description. So if there's any big TV guys out there, or movies, and you don't get enough of Josh in your life with the ShoddyCast, you can go ahead and check that out. That'll be in the video description.
All right, next from Dragonborn Miner 165. Hi guys, what kind of music do you both enjoy listening to? Very eclectic. Like all kinds of things, but mostly in the rock genre.
I claim no genre at all. It's whatever sounds good to me. And that ranges from everything to modern music to even classical music.
What about dubstep? You don't like dubstep. I actually will listen to it. I'll like have a mood for dubstep and then I'll listen to it and then get sick of it and stop.
There's like 2 or 3 songs that I'll listen to. But I won't say I hate the whole as a genre. Like I'll listen to just about anything as long as it sounds good. And then, you know, a lot of music from games too. I'll download all those soundtracks and listen to them. Like
anything Jeremy Soule.
I mean, I'll bike to Jeremy Soule like all the time. But anyway.
Yeah, so pretty much anything rock, 70s, 80s, 90s alternative, metal. I'll listen to it all. All right, so Mr. Communist Dragon, what are your specs of you guys? How did I pick this same question before? Sorry, Communist Dragon. He was asking about our PCs, but we already answered that. Emils Merzins. And that probably is nowhere even close because there's a lot of accent marks there. How did you get your nickname of the channel?
Wait, nickname?
How did you get your nickname? There's no specification.
I'm gonna guess that means channel name.
The channel, literally, we were on thesaurus.com looking for names that had the same definition of crappy.
Because yeah, the thought process behind that was we wanted to get into the YouTube game, but we didn't want to think that anyone, like, that we're veteran gamers or that we're any better than anyone else out there. Because actually, we're very, very chilled when we approach our games. We're not hardcore by any stretch, and we just want to have fun. And so naming our channel something like crappy or shitty, something like that, would kind of give us, hey, if you don't like our videos...
It's like, well, the name, you know,
you
says
were
it for
warned,
itself.
you know?
This stuff is shoddy. So, yeah, I guess you were in the kitchen or something. I was on my phone looking through thesaurus.com for words. Or no, we were in my room. That's where we were. And just looking at names. And then I read shoddy, and then it was like, Shoddycast. Like, what do you think of Shoddycast? He's like, just kind of pondering on it for a second. He's like, yeah, I like that. And then it kind of just stuck.
Yeah.
So that's that. As for, I don't know if your name Radon, I guess that was for me.
Yeah, you
stole it.
Yeah, you used to name your character that in your save games on the Nintendo 64, and when I got the hand-me-down of the Nintendo 64, my characters were named Radon, and so I kind of inherited that in-game name from you. So yeah, in-game, whenever you'll find me, I'll have some sort of deviation of Radon.
Yeah. Me, not so much. I just choose whatever suits the game.
Yeah, you're constantly changing.
Yeah. Whatever.
Constantly in flux.
Whatever. Maybe I'll just stick with Fluffykins. How about that? Did you like Fluffykins?
I think you will want to stick with some sort of alias name.
Fluffykins? You like that?
Fluffykins, yeah. That'll have some sort of respect to it.
How about just... Well, I could stick with Turok, but that's trademarked.
Yeah.
So Dar Turok then.
Want to name something like how about Biscuit Total?
No. Wow. Okay, no.
Joe Angry.
No. From Joshua Vibirla.
Cox Jesse.
Oh, wow. No. Have you guys ever seen the show Psych? And I put this on here because I was actually watching Psych while I was picking these questions out. Thanks to my dual monitor setup. What? So, yeah, I love that show. And I used to have all the seasons on my PC until I realized they were on Netflix. So I got to alleviate some of that hard drive space.
Yeah, we differ on opinion on Psych. Like, I think it's a fine comedy. Its level of funny stays very consistent, but it's nowhere near the level of, like, Arrested Development funny.
It's just completely different humor. Like, you have to understand where a lot of this humor is coming from, and a lot of it is from, like, 80s.
Too many
80s
references.
And 80s and 90s references that you just don't understand.
Which go right over my head.
Which even some of them I don't understand because they're even before my time. But...
I feel like they use it as a crutch, though.
It's just that and just their weird, like...
mannerisms?
What's the term? No, their relationship with each other.
The bromance?
Yeah, the bromance. It's just very amusing to me. I don't know.
Fun.
Alright, so from Archer Strider, Hi Shoddycast, I want to know what has been each of your favorite episodes so far. So what's your favorite episode that we've done?
Oh, man.
I'm going to cop out and just say it was the Guild Wars racial stereotypes.
Yes! Oh my gosh, that's mine too. Like, the funnest thing to record was the machinima. And if you guys haven't watched it yet, it's called, Guild Wars 2 Racial Stereotypes. And what it is, it's a machinima of basically little comedy sketches, if you can call them comedy. It was our attempt at comedy.
It was very hard to do in Guild Wars 2, let me just say.
And you'd probably have to play Guild Wars 2 to get a lot of the humor, because it's all based off of, Guild Wars.
But yeah, if you don't even want to watch that, just watch the bloopers and you'll see how much fun we had doing it.
We were laughing our asses off. My stomach was like sore, my abs.
Yeah.
I had a 6-pack the next day. I was laughing so much.
And like that was only
tears.
tidbits of the bloopers. We never did put out a full bloopers episode.
Yeah, I would definitely want to explore voice acting more, and we're getting that a little bit with the Elder Scrolls lore series because it's so much fun. That's just fun.
So I guess we both agree on the same show as our favorite one.
Yeah.
All right, next one from John Knox. Are you guys prepared to get schooled by the Daggerfall Covenant? What?
Screwed.
Schooled?
Schooled by the Dagger. Like, they're going to show us how much they suck. That's what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
And how,
so they're going to...
school us in what it is to be mediocre at best.
Yeah.
That's what is
Okay.
going on.
Yeah, then yes, we are prepared to get schooled by the Daggerfall Covenant in what it means to suck, I guess. We're gonna get so much hate from Daggerfall Covenant. Whatever. Hey, I said I liked Hammerfell. I said I liked Hammerfell. Okay.
They can't do anything though to us. They're too few in number.
Yeah, that's true. There are like 4 of you guys, and you're all Bretons. All right. So if you guys are brothers, this is by Durpanander. Read that.
I can't
Durpanander. Durpanatter?
It's fake anyway. It's a fake name.
If you guys are brothers, why do you get along so well? We don't always. Trust us.
No, definitely not.
I'm a very nudie cuss sometimes, and especially when I don't have my coffee.
Yes.
So he like knows not to talk to me unless I've had my coffee.
Yeah, where I'm like usually chipper majority of the time. Yeah, Kyle.
Except when I walk into your room when you're on the computer and you give me that death stare. I'm like, what? I was just walking in here, and I think that's just your face.
That's just my face.
Just your face. But you like turn and look over your shoulder, and your head nods a little bit, and I'm like, oh shit, that's like. Am I bursting in flames right now?
Is that what I do?
Yes.
I don't even notice that. I guess because I'm like super deep in meditation when I'm in front of my computer working. So
the death stare.
I'm like, I just kind of register that you're there, like in my subconscious, and I continue on with what I'm doing. I don't know, but
yeah, we don't always. But I mean, for the sake of the show and the fact that we are brothers and everything, we get over stuff and we don't like hold grudges or anything.
Yeah, and it was definitely different when we were younger too, because you know, I was the annoying little brother and you were the mean older brother, and that's how it was. But now that we're adults, we're too lazy to do that. It's too tiring.
we weren't so lazy we would argue more and fight, but you know.
Yeah.
All right, last question from Mark Klein. Do you create your own mods, or do you rely on places like Skyrim Nexus and Steam? We are heavy on mods when it comes to Skyrim. Like, heavy on mods. You even more than me. Like, I only have 55 mods through the Steam Workshop, but then I have like 20 or so more just through Nexus.
Yeah, I played Skyrim first without mods for like weeks and weeks, because I believe the game should first be experienced
in the vanilla.
You know, as the developers intended them to be. But then after that, every day before I would play Skyrim, I would basically shop for 30 minutes for cool new mods, and I think the number is at about like 164 mods now.
Oh my god.
164 mods.
You're like 100 more than I do.
I don't know how my game does not crash.
I don't know either. Jeez.
But, yeah.
But they cover so many different things. There's a mod for like literally everything.
Oh yeah, and I love, and my hat's off to those guys, because I don't have that skill set to do mods. I just any sort of programming or stuff like that just feels depressing to me. I can't do it, and I love the fact that there are people out there that eat that up, because I get to have fun with what they create.
The closest thing to modding I get, at least in this game, is working on that creation toolkit thing, just to like make NPCs basically and put them in the game solely for our lore series, and even that's a pain in the ass to do without a mod. The Puppeteer mod.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but I have modded on other games like Guild Wars, the original Guild Wars. I was modding textures and stuff. Obviously, only I could see that since it was an MMO, but it was still pretty cool, and I actually had videos and stuff put out through that. But people would always ask me, like, "Where'd you get that gear? Where'd you get that weapon? I didn't know they came in blue." It's like, they didn't. I just made it in blue. So I would have crap like that all the time. But yeah, I enjoyed modding like that.
Yeah,
but
that's like a game within itself, is modding. Anyway, was that our last question?
That's it, man.
All right. Well, there's one last thing I wanted to bring up, because I know a lot of you watching this are either passively interested or very interested in getting into the whole YouTube broadcasting thing. And while we're relatively new, you know, I think we're like, what,
6 months,
7 months old, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I hear people ask questions, you know, what's it, any advice you can offer or something like that. Like, I guess the biggest piece of advice I could give anyone wanting to start into the YouTube thing is first ask yourself, would you do it if money was no factor at all? Like, if you couldn't make a dime from it, would you still put videos out just as a hobby? And if the answer is yes, then you passed. Yeah, start getting into the YouTube thing. I think you'll like it a lot. If not, I probably wouldn't do it, because you'll end up, it'll be like a job. It'll get depressing for you. And then any other advice I could offer for getting a channel off the ground would be,
hit the forums for one.
yeah, advertise like shameless whores,
Yes,
as
Mr. Jesse Cox.
as Jesse Cox would say. It's a very real thing. You can make the best videos around, but
If no one knows they exist, there's no point.
then forget it, you know? So don't be afraid to, don't spam, obviously. You know, make it relevant to people's conversations. Like, say, like the lore series. Say you started a lore series for The Elder Scrolls Online, which would be very lame of you. We already got one. But say you did that, and you found a forum where people were really passionate in talking about the lore. Just throw it out there. Hey guys, I made this. What do you guys think? And, you know, ask for constructive criticism, because that's very important in your growth. Another thing that I think has really, really helped us grow as a channel has been our solid schedules. And that I think it's very important to have that scheduled shows. You can still have random shows too that you'll just put out there, random videos, but having a set of scheduled shows tells people that they can come back on a certain day and they'll have something to listen to or something to watch. And people will go out of their way, when people are going out of their way to open up the browser and go to YouTube just because you promised a video that day, that's a very powerful thing. So that would be another piece of advice. Do you have anything else to add to that advice, Kyle?
Don't let the trolls get to you.
Oh, yes.
Comments can be a very good and a very bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I know when we had first started out, we were complaining how, like, we just weren't ever getting comments. So we were kind of getting that down feeling, like no one's even paying attention
Anyone
to
out
us.
there, out there.
Yeah, it's like, God, just say something. And then now we kind of wish some people wouldn't say anything.
Careful what you wish for.
Because, you know, I mean, even if there's just one person out of 100 that says that negative comment, it's that negative comment that sticks in your head, and those other 99 awesome comments kind of just fly past your head. I don't know what it is, but those negative comments stick in your mind much longer than those positive ones.
Which you have to train yourself, and I'm getting much better at. I just ignore them now altogether. I'll stop reading them like halfway through. I won't even finish them, because you're not making videos for that jackass. You're making videos for the people who actually appreciate it, and that's where your mind should be, on your fans and the people that appreciate what you're doing. Yeah, that's very important. You gotta grow some thick skin when you're getting on the YouTube, because when you put your video out there, you're once it's on the internet, it's there forever, and
you cannot simply delete something from the internet.
Exactly, you know, and everybody gets to see it. So just be prepared and take any criticism in a constructive way, and ignore the people who are just being flat out assholes, because there's just always going to be assholes out there, and those people are just, you feel sad for them, because they have nothing else better to do than to take the time to type a nasty comment on your video. So.
But if you do feel like you just have to respond to that person, type it out, just don't hit enter.
Oh yeah, the worst thing you can do is feed the trolls.
Yeah,
right?
Just type that nasty message back to them, but don't send it. And then you'll feel better, though, just because you had got it out of your system.
Yeah, it's like a therapy. You know?
Yeah, so if you're going, if it's just bothering the crap out of you, just type it out, but don't send it.
Yeah. And then, you know, like we said, focus on the positive comments, because, yeah, when you guys make comments like, man, I wish the Shoddy Cast was a better known channel, or this should be what people are watching, you know, this is great. Like, that stuff is like crack to us. It's like putting a crack needle in my chest or something.
Because you take crack in the
I
chest.
take
You can
crack
tell that
in the
this
chest.
person's done drugs before. I take crack straight in the chest.
I inject it into my heart. No, that's what it feels like, though. It really does. That positive feedback is something you thrive of. Because, I mean, as a content creator, having those appreciative people out there is a nice thing. And then, yeah, I guess to conclude this video, guys, if you guys are still watching this, what is this, over almost 2 hours long or something? You know, if you're still watching this, you're a dedicated ShoddyCast follower, and we really appreciate you guys watching, because the biggest compliment you can pay a YouTube podcaster is taking time out of your day to watch our shit. So yeah, thanks to you guys, because we wouldn't be here if nobody was watching. So
Yeah.
so thank you a lot for that. Alright, enough of the mushy stuff. This has been the ShoddyCast. I have been Josh.
And I'm a Kyle.
We'll catch you later.
Boy!